Well, the xenophobic attacks, accompanied by simple crime and looting, brought into question South Africa's brand equity. And Brand South Africa's acting chief executive officer, Alice Puoane, joins us now for more. Good evening to you, Alice. This is not good for South Africa's reputation.
Good evening, David. Definitely it's not. It has a negative impact on the country's reputation. However, it should be noted that the country's reputation, one of the things that is taken into account is the people and the culture of South Africa. So it is incumbent upon Brand South Africa to go out there and educate the people of the impact of the things that they do, and then to understand at the background of how we came to the freedom, you know, to appreciate everything that has happened from the past so that we can be able to keep our reputation intact. And I think we also welcome the statements from the President with all the action points and the actions that are going to be implemented going forward, especially the deployment of additional SNDF soldiers into the 7 border areas, and also the ones who will be assisting in Home Affairs. Just to address.
In terms of brand management, and you are called Brand South Africa, one has to be careful not to be over positive. You have to tell the truth. You have to acknowledge that there are problems.
Absolutely.
But in a way, you're like in a big company where you might be the brand manager, but there's a problem with the product.
Yes.
And how much influence do you actually have on what's happening with the product? In other words, the government may or may not be doing things that they should be doing. What influence do you have?
We take the information and we talk to the key stakeholders. I think what we need to appreciate is that all these other key stakeholders that are identified, especially Department of Home Affairs, the security cluster, need to then start implementing initiatives that are going to address the xenophobic attacks, and also go into the root causes of these particular xenophobic attacks so that you can address them and not just take out messages out there.
And perhaps part of your role is to differentiate between xenophobia, fear of foreigners, resentment of foreigners, and simple looting and crime. Now, I think it's very difficult to, you know, on the ground differentiate, but there is a difference, and that's part of the explanation of what's happening.
Definitely there is. That's the reason why it should be then found out what the root causes are, so that you can address, because there are elements there that are either political or there are criminal elements that needs to be dealt with going forward.
Our brand in the rest of Africa must be suffering here, and one hears about the outrage in Zimbabwe, where their citizens or immigrants to here are suffering. It's ironic, if you think of the number of African countries, one thinks particularly of Zambia, but others as well, where during the apartheid years, at some cost to themselves, in terms of raids from the old SADF, but also economically, put up with a great deal on behalf of South Africa. It's as if they're being kicked in the teeth.
Absolutely, it appears like that because the people on the ground do not understand and appreciate it. One needs to then go and then create more awareness to the people that this is what happened. Especially now, we're in the Freedom Month, we need to appreciate where we come from and how we came here, so that we can recognize and then give credit where it's due.
As an organization, have you got the capacity to take on a big project like this?
We are using our Play Your Part campaign to reach the people in the ground level, so that we can then put out the messages out there. Also, we don't work alone as Brand South Africa. We leverage and we collaborate with all other key stakeholders who would assist us in this quest to then create awareness.
You must, I think we perceive, the politicians have a bit of a difficult rope to walk here. On the one hand, they must understand some people in their constituency are resentful of foreigners, a perception of taking jobs and that kind of thing. On the other hand, you've got to condemn the violence. Has the political leadership of the country, locally and nationally, done enough to condemn this violence?
They are doing enough right now because of the initiatives that they've taken. There have been talks behind the scenes, and that I think currently now they are looking at strengthening the border management agency so that we can address such issues going forward.
The Zulu King is said to have made inflammatory remarks, inciting remarks. I saw a letter in Business Day today saying, why hasn't he been arrested? How do you deal with that?
That the President needs to deal with that one because it's at his level, but however we will then give him information to assist him in how to deal with it going forward, because what we need to do is to keep a positive image of the country.
Do you think his remarks were inflammatory?
If they were true, yes.
Right, we'll have to stop there. That's Brand, South Africa's acting chief executive on a difficult subject for South Africa at the moment, Alice Puoane.